We are live with Track Talk on Twitch, on YouTube, and on TikTok. So I'm just getting everything flowing here. We're going to get rolling with some consultations hopefully tonight. The way that we've set up these live streams is that anybody at any point through any consultation can gain some value and some experience from the way that we communicate about the things that we're talking through here in Track Talk. So whether you are needing help with your production structure, your sound design choices, the way that you mix and master, whether you're struggling with vocal production, lyric and song formatting, whatever it may be, our goal is that the way that we communicate about those things and the amount of depth that we go into over these like 30, 40 minute, 20 plus minute at least consultations for artists and producers, engineers, that everybody can gain value, right? I try to make it, even though I can talk fairly complex about the issues that we're talking about, I try to do it in a way where everybody in the live stream can gain some knowledge and gain some experience from what we're doing. So even if you're not able to get yourself up on the board, you're not able to submit for a consultation today or another day, I hope that y'all will hang out, be a part of the community, and kind of see what we're all about. I appreciate you hopping in. What kind of music do you like most? I personally love like synthwave, dark wave. I love the 80s. I love Depeche Mode. I love Tears for Fears. I love Kavinsky. They're pretty broad spectrum, but I listen to and enjoy most everything. Not to be too cliche, but I do genuinely listen to and enjoy most styles of music. But I appreciate the question. Honestly, my docket right now of production and stuff is pretty broad. It's all over the place. I was tracking electric guitar today for a session client. That was kind of R&B pop that I was doing guitar for that. I've got some synth pop stuff, some 80s stuff. I've got a opera client right now. I've got some pop and R&B. I've got, a trap beat here and there. It's kind of all over the place. So we're gonna... Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. We finally have everything figured out here. Let's mess around a little bit. Nick is in the building. What's up, Nick? Y'all keep tapping the screen, keep sharing out the live. We're gonna keep things flowing here. Let's do this. What do you recommend? Best mic for recording depends largely on the voice itself and the budget. There's not too many mics that I just like recommend for everyone, unless you're at a limited budget. If your budget's under $300, there's only so many microphones that actually do a pretty decent job at that price point, legitimately, that have a fairly low noise floor, just really, really good frequency response. It feels nice and open and responsive to most vocals and most instruments. So budget under $500. Under $500, I would probably be looking at Lewitt. The Lewitt Pure series is great. The LCT series from Lewitt is great. That would probably be where I would be putting most of your attention, would be probably Loudwin and Lewitt. There's a lot of other microphones in that price range that you'll see and you'll hear from a lot of other people. Some that like them and some that don't. But Lewitt and Loudwin are pretty universally loved by any engineer that I've ever talked to, and I've had both of those microphones. So I have a couple Loudwins here in the studio as well. I use Loudwin LA120s on my overheads for my drums. I also use them to mic acoustic guitars and stuff like that. Those are small diaphragm pencil condensers. They're fantastic, incredibly versatile. They sound amazing. I use them every single day, and they're amazing. I would probably look in the direction of like the LCT 440s. Those are like $300. The Loudwin Audio LA 220, I believe it is. Thoughts on the MXL 990 for vocals. So I know a bunch of people with the 990, and I know I used to have an MXL 770. In my opinion, it's not that great of a microphone. That's just my personal experience with it, having owned that microphone. That's my personal experience with it. It's incredibly noisy. For the price, I mean, you can get one for like $80, right? So for $80, you're fine, right? You know, that's you know, it's hard to kind of go really, really, you know, high end at that level. If you're going to go $90, just go for, again, Lewitt LCT 240 Pro. Lewitt LCT 240 Pro is going to be the best microphone I think that you can buy for under $150. I think that's probably your best bet, probably the lowest noise floor. So you're not going to be dealing with nearly as much hiss, especially if you're pairing it with a cheaper preamp or a cheaper interface like a Scarlett that might potentially also have a fairly high noise floor. I do feel like that is going to probably be your best bet. You can get those for $100 or like $130 for the set. And it's not, you know, it's a pretty damn good microphone for the price. I highly recommend it. They have great customer service, amazing microphones. So I've had an MXL. It was noisy as hell. Very, very, very hissy, noisy microphone. Will it do the job? Yes, but it didn't treat me too well when I had it. Pretty similar experience from a couple other artists that I've worked with that had that microphone as well. The 990 or the 770, which are both large diaphragm condensers. I appreciate you. I just happen to have owned a lot of different stuff or worked with a lot of different stuff. So whether it's like in my personal possession, like I've bought and sold so many different interfaces and mics and preamps and compressors and synths and instruments and stuff like that. I've bought and sold a lot myself, but I've also worked with a lot of people. So just over the course of work, you know, tracking with different artists on a ton of different microphones, working in a studio for 2.5 years where we used every different mic and preamp and instrument you could think of. I've used a lot of stuff over the years. And so some of it comes from my personal experience. Some of it comes from mixing and tracking for other artists, and other musicians and session musicians and vocalists and stuff like that. And then the other side is just, you know, stuff that I worked with when I was in the studio, which we would use consistently over and over and over again. So that's where a lot of, it's not that I've like owned, you know, 1,000 microphones, but I feel like I've probably used, you know, 100 different microphones that I can have at least some level of understanding of do people enjoy them? Do they have any inherent issues? I also am I love to research things. I love to research things. I will spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours endlessly for days and weeks and months and years on end, just looking up stuff, learning about gear, researching it, watching videos on them, watch people break them down, take them apart, open them up. I just love that stuff. It's just it's a hobby of mine. So I tend to obsess a little bit, and that also helps me learn more about the gear that we talk about a lot on this channel. Ooh, let's go. I hear fuzzy guitars and I already like it. Let's get into the details. Oh, I'm excited. We've got May in the building. I heard a single of May's again a couple months ago. I'm excited to get into the details of this. This is called Pick Me Up. I have the master here, what I'm perceiving as a master based on the file. So May, give me any and all details on the structure of this. Actually, I think I have some details here in the email. Give me 1 second to catch up on that. Hey, here's my next release. Honestly curious about your thoughts on the master and structure of the song and any other feedback you got. Thank you. Let's get into it. May, I'm so excited. I've got the track loaded up right here. Let's get into it. This is called Pick Me Up by May, right here in the TikTok chat. Any other details you have on instrumentation, production structure, and the role that you played in the song? Obviously, I've heard some of your stuff before, but anything you want the chat to know or anything you want me to know, please drop it in the chat, and we'll get into it. This is Pick Me Up by May.
Get on the road just to go. You know I cannot take it anymore. Guess I'll be sober, too much to get over more. Wow. Basement to calling my name. Your music is good, what a shame. You'll be playing guitar, someone else on your arm, it feels wrong. Wow. Last time, thought it'd be different than this time. Here we go. Pick me up, take me out. All the things you wanna do it right now. Meet your mom and call you mine. Take me to the restaurant on your dime. I really wanna show you this side. Pick me up and take me out. All the things you wanna do it right now.
Great vocal performance.
Don't stop for gas on the way, but the roads are closed, so I'll wait. You tell me you want me, and this is how you want it to be. Whoa. You're saying her name in your sleep. It's only been months, so we'll see. Guess you're not ready, your hazards are on around me. Whoa. Last time, thought it'd be different than this time. Here we go. Pick me up and take me out. All the things you wanna do it right now. Meet your mom and call you mine. Take me to the restaurant on your dime. I didn't wanna show you this side. Pick
Yeah,
me
voice is
up,
awesome. This is really good.
take me out. All the things you wanna do it right now.
Fuzzy as hell. I love it.
I didn't wanna show you this side. Pick me up and take me out.
All the fuzz. Let's go.
I didn't wanna show you this side. Pick me up and take me out. All the things you wanna do it right now. Meet your mom and call you mine. Take me to the restaurant on your dime. I didn't wanna show you this side. Pick me up and take me out. All the things you wanna do it right now. Do it right now. I didn't wanna
Are these live track drums?
do it right now.
Let's go, yo. Give it up one time for May right here in the chat. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Show some love to May. Incredibly, incredibly talented. First, I just want to give props to vocal writing or songwriting and vocal production and vocal structure. Your vocal structure is amazing. Performance on the mic is energetic. It's charismatic. It has a lot of amazing characteristics to it. A lot of like natural emoting on the mic that I think you do in spades. Beautifully, beautifully done. There's a couple little things about the mix and master I do want to just address, because I do think that it is kind of getting in the way of you feeling the song. Your vocal performance is there, and even your vocal mix. It's like a nice tight compression, punches through. You have some nice automation on the effects, nice wide, double track stacks of your vocal. A lot of the stuff that you have going on there, beautifully done. I think that sounds awesome. Really stands out in the mix. On the percussion side, there's a couple things that I want to address, because I do feel like it is kind of limiting the ability of you to like feel the energy of the song and really, really get into the dynamics of it. Let's run it from the top, as we always do, and get back into the structure of the song. Once again, this is Pick Me Up by May. They submitted this over on TikTok. And I also love, and here's the thing I want to mention, right off the bat. I don't want this to sound perfect. It shouldn't sound perfect. It shouldn't sound perfect. I can't talk. It's too late. It's been a long day. It shouldn't sound perfect. I don't want this to be sterile pop. I don't want this to be like a super clean, quantized, rigid mix or drum structure. I want this to sound nasty. I want it to be grungy. I want it to be like it's performed in a garage, and I want it to sound like, I want it to be polished in the way so you want it to be polished, maybe in the vocal production, but from a like production standpoint and an instrumentation standpoint, I want this to feel pretty raw, right? I want this to feel like you know, early 2000s, late 90s, you know, pop rock, right? Which is, I'm kind of assuming is some of the aesthetic, early Paramore stuff. Like, I'm assuming it's kind of like the aesthetic you're going for based on some of the stuff that I hear here. Let's get into it. So right off the bat, you'll hear in this mix, I'm not sure, just obviously I don't have the session or necessarily the setup for it. The miking and positioning on the drums are a little bit interesting. Not necessarily wrong, because there's a lot of creative decisions you can make. For rock, I would love to hear pretty much kick snare dead center. Some slight offset from the snare from the overheads is fine, but I would 99% of the time, you want the kick and snare to hit you in the chest. You want it to snap through. You want it punchy. You want it slicey. No matter what the era of rock is, you want it pretty tight. Right now, you can hear the snare is panned like 75% to the right side. Kick is offset like 20 to 30% to the left. And then you get some cymbal wash over on the right as well, probably from that overhead. And then I think, I'll go a little bit further. You hear some hats, I think, on the left too. I'm assuming that there's a pretty interesting spread from the overheads, the positioning over the overheads, and then how they were panned. Even if they were panned equally, if they were positioned unequally, then you're going to get some offsets in your panning. It's going to be biased one direction or the other. I'm kind of assuming that it's kind of an offset from maybe a stereo overhead, or maybe it just has been panned all the way over to the right. But for whatever reason, the snare drum is probably 75+% panned to the right side. So just by default, I lose a lot of that like snap from it just coming from you right down the middle, punching through the mix, especially from the kick and snare. Now, tonally, I don't mind what's going on. It's pretty raw. It's pretty resonant. It's very, very open sounding. Lots of, I hear a lot of big like room noise and reverb on it. I like that. Again, I don't want this. This is not like a Jake Reed dead drums, like tight sound. It should feel raw, should feel pretty organic. And so I don't mind tonally what's going on, but the panning is definitely biased kind of all the way over to the right. Let me do something real quick. So just for the sake of like getting this energy, right? So what you'll notice as a difference, especially maybe like once you go back through the VOD and listen kind of in a comparison, I'll play over it just so you can kind of hear what it sounds like over it. But you'll hear how their snare is far, far, far to the right. And both of these are going to hit you right down the middle. Let me play back from the top here. Now, guitar, I love. It's a great double track. You have like almost like a harmony on one side, great double track. It's muddy and fuzzy, but I like that. And again, I don't want this perfect or pristine. I just want it. I just want you to feel it. Hear the positioning there. And let me go ahead and show the DAW as well, so you can kind of see what's going on here. These are Hertz drums. One of my favorite, I'm just playing drum plugins here. Obviously, it's going to be different than live drums. I prefer live drums 90% of the time. So keep live drums. I love live drums. Don't switch it out. Don't change live drums for a cheesy plugin. But we're mainly listening for the panning structure. Let's go back once those drums come in. You can hear where they're positioned, way over here, and pretty quiet. You hear a cymbal wash a little bit over to the left. You hear a little bit of that over to the left side, and then you get a bit more of like the crash and overheads over to the right side. The kick is slightly to the left, snares all the way to the right. I'm assuming that most of this is happening in tracking. Most of the issues that anybody will ever have within their music, tonal quality issues, tuning issues, structural issues for your drums, your miking, stuff like that. It all happens early on. It all happens at the source, right? Now you can fix some things within the mix. Of course, you can definitely fix some things within the mix. But I am a massive proponent of getting it right at the source. I would much prefer that the mics are set up properly, that phase issues are mitigated as much as possible. There's going to be bleed. There's going to be some phase stuff you got to deal with. That's fine. Miking drums is a complex process. It's difficult for a lot of engineers, but I would really prefer to get that taken care of as seamlessly and as cohesively at the source as possible. Vocal sounds beautiful. I wouldn't really touch that too much. I think your performance is great. You get a great dry vocal in there, a really good wet vocal as well with those stacks, with the nice automation on your reverbs and delays. Those tails are great as well. I really wouldn't touch your vocal or your performance much at all. It would just be about how you tuck that into maybe an update on some of your instrumentation. If it were me, and this is not an easy thing for a lot of bands to do because it could be a complex process, I would retrack the drums. What do you think about the master? The hard thing is if I'm like just honest about the thing that I'm hearing, to me, the master doesn't sound good because I'm not like hearing really any of the energy of the song. You know what I mean? So like, because the drum panning is so off, I really don't feel the structure at all. Like, I don't feel the energy of those drums coming in and they're wailing on the crash. I don't like feel that in the mix. And to me, of course, anything that is structured in the mix is going to affect the master. Everything that you do at the source affects the mix. Everything you do in the mix affects the finality of the master and its structure. So for me, the master doesn't sound good because there's structural things in the source and then into the mix that need to be fixed, that need to be worked on. So that's kind of where I'm at. You're getting fine loud from what I'm hearing here. You're getting fine like loudness out of your master, good clarity out of your guitar tone and out of your vocal. So as far as like a structure of a master goes, to just reach competitive loudness from your song, I don't think you're in a bad spot. But I still don't feel any of like the grounding elements of the drums and the bass kind of in the way that they work together. Okay, let me move a little bit forward. There's one other part I want to listen to. It's not a rule in any way. There's a million different ways to mic drum sets and set this up, but I would encourage them to have an equidistant length between both of their overheads for the snare, and then pan them outside so that when they pan their overheads to the outside, you get a centered snare image, or close to centered snare image if they are using overheads. That's generally a helpful rule. It's not the case for every single song, but that's like an easy way to do it, is if your left overhead that's overlooking like maybe your crash and your hi-hats is maybe 42 inches or 50 inches away from the snare, you might lower and bring in your right overhead over your like ride and your floor tom or another crash, bring it in just a little bit and go about 52 inches to the other one. If you keep those equal, at least once you pan equally with your overheads, it tends to give you a pretty accurate, consistent stereo image. Things like that could help. That's like one thing. Then the drums sound wide. They sound open. They sound like they're kind of hitting you from all sides, but the kick and snare stays right in the middle. Last up, and I promise we'll move on. We got Zale waiting on deck here. And Zale, I got your video loaded up here too, or it's in the email there. I see it. Last thing I will say here. One thing that can help with your dynamic range as well, once the drums are fixed, especially, is some small tonal changes, especially to the guitar. Since this song is largely made up of this kind of wall of sound between the drums, this like picked P bass, kind of a, like Fender P bass kind of a sound, right? Picked P bass, or whatever bass. And your double track guitars and then the vocal, right? There's like 4 instruments that largely make up the vast majority of the sonics that we hear here. Small changes in how those present themselves in the mix can make a huge difference. One suggestion, this might be a little cheesy, but honestly, it's like it's early Avril, tonal stuff. So I would still move this direction, is when you go into this breakdown and the dun, 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 and you go into this last little breakdown here, after that buildup, I would filter out all of those guitars. And it's just an idea. You don't have to do this, but filter out all of those guitars for a second, because if it's always broad wall of sound, fuzz and grit for the whole song, then you do kind of lose the impact of that sometimes. If it's always there and it's always hitting you in the head, you lose some of the desire to have it come back again. So if you just pull that energy away for just a moment and limit, the frequencies a little bit, filter it down, filter up, so you get this almost like, car speaker, radio, like telephone effect on that guitar. Just filter it down just for the breakdown when you go back into the hook, and then open it wide as soon as everything else comes back in. So like right in here, build this up. Exactly. Right here. And then you just filter everything out right there. So and you could even just go to straight one side. That's another idea. What this does is it makes your breakdown massive sounding, right? So if all of a sudden you chop one of your double tracks, you like chop the left side, you take it out completely, and you go to just the right side filtered, right? You just have one guitar and your stack of vocals, and it's just dun-dun-dun over here on the right, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun, and then everything comes in, wall of sound, guitars, they're fuzzy, the double track comes in, stacks of vocals comes in. The dynamic range is massive. It's really, really dramatic. And the stereo spectrum activity is really massive as well, because it goes from like kind of narrow and filtered out to doubled and wide and super dynamic, especially if the drums match that dynamic. If the drums come in and they're clean and they're clear and they match that same dynamic, it just makes the song go, it kind of puts you on the edge of your seat for a second and then just explodes after that. Little things like that. It can be a different idea that you don't have to do that, but a different idea than that. Just finding a way to just, juke us out a little bit, right? Throw a wrench in the system for just a second so that you keep us engaged and it doesn't just feel like you're hearing fuzz the whole time. As much as I love the fuzz is great. We love the fuzz. Keep the fuzz, but find some ways to cut and chop a little bit there. That way the dynamics shift a little bit. 1, 2, 3, go. And then massive here. There's also not a lot of low end information. So in the process of remixing this and then remastering it, I would probably push your bass forward 3 or 4 dB. It's pretty far back. And so once this breakdown comes back in, you are losing a little bit of that low end information. So I would probably push the bass forward by, like I said, probably 3 or 4 dB just to give you a little bit more oomph, a little bit more energy, a little bit more punch, and then you should be good to go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Y'all show some love to May. May, I know you're at work. You got the headphones in. You're doing your thing. I appreciate you so much for sending this in, even when you're on the go. Of course, at any point, you can re-reference this back on Twitch for 2 weeks or on YouTube. It'll be there, and definitely I'll edit it down tomorrow as well, so it's easier to find. Show some love one more time to May. May, I appreciate you so much. We got Zale in the building. Zale. Let's see. We got Zale in the building. Let's pull up your track right now. In fact, I believe we've got a music video. Drop the details of the song, the production structure, the mix structure, any details that you have. Be as detailed as you want to be. Drop that in the chat so that I can learn some information about the song and the role that you specifically played in creating it, so that we have all those details. And then after I've finished watching the music video, this is an unreleased music video, then of course I'll go back through those messages and get that going. Cooking up a bunch of visual stuff for the album. I'm signing a deal with Amethyst Collab for my PR company. They work with Trippy Red and mine, produced and sung by me per usual, and me and creative director went 50-50 on the video. Okay, so everything that I'm hearing musically, let me know about the mix as well. You said produced and sung. Let me know if the mix and master was done by you or by an engineer or studio. Let me know, and let's get into it. Let me pull up the video first, and let's see if this works. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, y'all check this out. So this is an unreleased music video done by Zale. If you like what you see / hear, then I need y'all to follow Zale. Check out what they're doing. Go to platforms, all that good stuff. This is Control by Zale. We're going to check out the unreleased music video. So we get a sneak peek. This is a little bit of a premiere that we have going on here. So shout out to Zale for sending this in. I appreciate that, man. All right, this is Control by Zale. Beautiful car.
Watch the
This is cool, man. Really interesting sound design. Great sound design, Zale. This is great, man. Cool video too. Fire. Let's go, y'all. Show some love, show some love, show some love. Let me get out of here. Let me get back to the chat. Let me exit out of this for a second, and then I'll play it from the email here to go back through the audio. Let's see. Master was by my usual engineer as Silkro since 2018, leaving everything super scalable as I released and budgets get larger. Love that. That's your 1974 BMW OSI. That's your car, man. Come on, it's beautiful. If you didn't get a chance to see the video for that we showed here on the live stream, I highly encourage you to go check it out as soon as it's out. Beautiful, beautiful vehicle, man. I love that so much. I would love to get me a 70s or 80s BMW, like an early 3 would be so fun. Feeling a bunch of green lights from the universe, so I'm going, Zale. I love to hear it. Going for raw, then perfect or precise this time around. I love that. This feels very intentional, very precise. Your production's fantastic, man. It's got a little bit of that like cashmere cat kind of a vibe. Like it's got, really like you have kind of a trap core with a almost like hyper pop kind of glitchy, really interesting production structure surrounding it that I love so much. So I'm going to run it back through the track here just in the email, and then I'll keep this up on the screen. But I can't wait for you to get this. Can't wait for you to get this out. Let's get into it. This is Control by Zale. Let's dive into the production here. I don't have a lot to say, man. This is really well structured. It's interesting. It's dynamic. Has a lot of twists and turns. Twists. I can't talk, y'all. Twists and turns sonically that I'm a huge fan of. So let's dive into it. Talk to me a little bit about what you're producing on. Give me some info on what you like to use. Let's just talk about the music, man. I'm excited for you. This is gonna be a big release for you, and I'm excited for you to get it out. Hey, sometimes they said I always make mistakes, but I can fix for the live versions. Sometimes the mistakes are the most beautiful parts of the song structure. So I wouldn't fix too much. I wouldn't fix too much. Ableton since 2012. Let's go. I used Ableton for years. I used to use it for live programming and live looping and stuff like that. But that was years and years ago. I don't have the computer or Ableton anymore. But I've been kind of tempted to get back into it. I did my Pro Tool run since it was industry standard at the time. Probably still is. It's just industry. Benson Boone's older brother. I'll take it. It's a good looking man. I did my Pro Tools run. Industry standard to me is just access. That's really all it is. Like, Digital Design and Avid, they created their like Carbon systems and their Dante systems and their studio systems for all of the major studios. And so when they were like building connectivity in all these different places, they were just everywhere. Every studio had Pro Tools. So if you wanted to be a producer, you wanted to be a great engineer, and you were going to plug and play in different studios, you had to have Avid, or you had to have Digital Design at the time. You had to have Pro Tools, right? So it became kind of industry standard, one, because it had great tools, and it does have great tools. But it's just industry standard because it's everywhere. You know what I mean? And that's what kind of makes it. It's like the Apple ecosystem, right? It's the ease of being able to go back and forth. So if you are wanting to get into engineering and production, odds are it would be very helpful for you to learn the interface for Pro Tools, because it's going to be in every single studio that you go to, as opposed to FL. It's probably not going to be in it might be better for some of the things that you do. You might like the interface better. You might make better tonal decisions and creative decisions in FL Studio, but it might not be everywhere. So it can be a little bit harder to plug and play. But I'm not a DAW snob. I'm not a gear snob or anything like that. There are things that FL and Ableton and Studio One and Logic, whatever, probably do more efficiently than Pro Tools. There's some things that I think Pro Tools does more efficiently than some of these other DAWs, and maybe is built around a little bit more from a UI standpoint, an interface standpoint. But that being said, I just tell people to use what makes sense for them, use an interface that makes sense to them, that they feel like they can be creative and feel like they can make the best decisions for their creativity and for their music. That's all that matters to me. But it's really only industry standard just because it's everywhere. I think that's, at this point, you can win a Grammy with anything. I really don't think it matters at all. There's going to be preferences for every person. I mean, it's a pretty nasty mix too. It's wide, it's snappy. Bass is massive without being muddy. Beautiful. And it can be challenging too, to go, really chorused or like really ultra wide, especially with like sub bass and stuff like that. But you're still keeping a pretty compatible, sounds like to me, a pretty compatible mono image with your sub harmonics, while the high end of this bass is super wide, right? And I think that's one of the things that you've done really well, is stacking your basses and having some brighter elements, right? Some of those more like guttural, nasty, raspy, high end elements over the top of that bass that are pushed really, really wide. And that allows this to feel huge. It feels really, really massive without it feeling like you've hollowed out the middle of the mix by like widening everything and using like a stereo widener to just split open the entire submix and push everything out of the way. And then you have this like hollow, nasty, phasey center that just you don't feel anything at all. It doesn't even hit the sub. So you did a great job. And you and the engineer did a great job of making the sound full, making it sound massive, without overdoing it in a way that just feels like this has actually no energy to it. So great job. I mean, you got tempo changes here. You got a lot of movement. This is beautiful, man. Nasty, man. Come on. Nika, welcome in. And this is your vocal, correct? Zale said, man, if it was just me mixing, this would be bleeding out the highs in ears. I believe it. Sometimes it is just best to get a second set of ears on your music. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, like, I'm a fan of doing all my own stuff, and it's I know a lot of other people that are a fan of just doing everything in house. And for some people, it just works to produce, to, to curate and kind of analyze everything, and then also to handle the mix and master. For some people it just works, right? For a lot of people it does, but for someone else, you're going to get the best result from like separating yourself from the art for a second and stepping back and letting someone else with a fresh set of ears take on the mix and just bring it to life. You'll probably hear things you didn't even realize you produced, and really really take it to another level. And it's just sometimes better to step away and just be like, I don't have to think about it anymore. I performed well, I tracked well, I produced a beautiful song. Now I just get to let it get up to industry standard and get it as loud as it needs to be, get everything balanced. I don't have to even worry about it anymore. Maybe just check in on a few revisions and that's it. It's a game changer, man. It's a really nice balance to the mix. It's crispy, it's saturated and really beefy sounding where it needs to be. The bass is booming, but it's not muddy at all. The highs are crispy and open and vibrant without feeling harsh and abrasive. The vocals just, soft and glitchy and hyper pop enough to just kind of tuck in there and then get out of the way and let the production do its thing. I like this a lot, man. I don't really have anything, if you like this style of music, you'll like what you're hearing. Now, if you don't like this style of music, you're like, why is the bass so distorted? I don't know what voice that is, but why is the bass so distorted? And why does the vocal sound like that? Whatever. I feel like I'm from the 50s or something. If you don't like this style of music, then you won't like what you're hearing regardless. But if you like hyper pop, if you like some of the kind of progressive core stuff that's going on here, I think you're going to really like the rest of Zale's stuff too. This is really cool, man.
Ow.
Ooh. Nasty. You got to get some transition content and try to see if you can't get some sort of a movement, some sort of a trend, some sort of a fad going on with this transition here. Like, this is easiest. I mean, you could even have, one of the easiest ways that I've seen this work for people is use your sound and vocals from a movie. Use your sound and then a line from a movie that's like a really powerful line from a movie, and then have the transition hit right after like the really powerful line from the movie. Choose something from, just whatever like top shows are happening, you know what I mean? Or even just like really like something like Breaking Bad, where there's like a really powerful scene and then you have the transition right there. Cause then you also start to tap into the editor market as well, which I know you're familiar with just based on the video that you showed me. You start to tap into the editor market as well, where people on TikTok and these phenomenal editors will just take clips of stuff and they'll put it to the sound and they'll just go crazy with it. I've seen people do some really, really incredible stuff with that. So, but you got to sometimes you have to kind of create the demand for that market by doing your own stuff, like trying to maybe even create some of your own shitty ones. Try to create kind of your own movement and your own flow for that stuff initially, and then see if it doesn't start to latch on. Send it out to like 1,000 people you can find. Just like look up edits, like look up all the popular edits in the hashtag under edits, and then just reach out to every single one of those people and send them the track and just see. And you only need like one. Yeah, you're putting in the right energy for this project, man. I'm excited for you. Seriously, I'm proud of the work you're putting in. Y'all give it up one time for the family. Zale is over on Twitch. Zale, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for sending in this track, dude. Anytime, Zale, I appreciate you. Zale, I'm proud of you, man. I've known you on here for a while. You've put in some incredible work over the year plus that I've known you. So I appreciate your work ethic and the amount of time and effort and energy and money that you put behind your craft. You're someone who takes it serious. You're someone who really values the creative side. I see that in your own productions. I see it now on the video side with you and the person that you're collaborating with. So a big shout out to you, man. I appreciate that a lot. Y'all give it up one time for the family. That's Zale. They're over on Twitch. Make sure y'all say, if you're over on TikTok or YouTube, make sure that you're followed or subscribed over on Twitch. If you're on Twitch, make sure you're subscribed to YouTube. Make sure you're following on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, make sure that you're, I don't know if I already said that, subscribe to YouTube and follow on Twitch. I don't know. Find me everywhere. Make sure that you're tapped in. Thank y'all so much for tapping into the stream today. I appreciate it so much. Y'all are amazing. The music is always amazing. I appreciate y'all's just faith in me, your trust in this process, your vulnerability in sending in your music, specifically when it's unreleased. That's not an easy thing to do. I know that's a vulnerable process. So I appreciate that a lot. I thank you for your support for the stream and support for what we do here at Track Talk, and what we do at Obsidian Key. A quick reminder before we hop off the live, for those of you who don't know, I work full time. My name's Torvik. I work full time as an audio engineer, session musician, and producer. It's what I do for a living. It's what I've done for 13 plus years. So if you are ever interested at any point in working with me as a client or a collaborator, just make sure to either reach out to me through social media, or you can go to my website, which is at any of the links. You can go and visit theobsidiankey.com, which is the company that we own. And you can find the contact form there and reach out to me, or just shoot me a DM over on Instagram or TikTok, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. And we can work out kind of the features and the setup for the collaboration or the work that you want to do, and the timeline and the budget and stuff like that. So if you're ever interested in working, just shoot me a message at any point. But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Have an amazing, amazing rest of your night.